We know that homelessness is a systemic problem. There are so many things that somebody may need in order to no longer be experiencing homelessness. If we meet them, let's say, in a respite setting, a medical respite setting, where they have come out of the hospital or out of a nursing facility and they still have a medical need, they might need an antibiotic treatment or they might need wound care. Well, we have to meet that medical need. But they may also have needs around substance use, around serious mental illness. They certainly, if they're homeless, need us to explore what that looks like for them to be able to be safely and sustainably housed. They have nutritional needs, job needs, and so on. But what we really need to do is imagine a continuum of care that goes all the way from a place where someone has an acute need that lands them in a respite bed, all the way to a time a little bit out in the future, let's say 1 year to begin. Imagine what would it look like to actually understand if somebody starts in respite today, 1 year from now, are they still homeless? And what would it take for us to understand that journey, to work with partners to map that journey and all the different services that we need to line up and coordinate around this person in a whole person care fashion. But if it's 10% today, how do we get to 20%, 25%? If it's 30% today, how do we get to 50%? How do we really lift that bar? And the observations have been made that here in Travis County, we care deeply for this problem, we recognize what an issue this is, and there's been a lot done around homelessness. But there's a shorter list of things that have been done together. Let's imagine coming together and continue to problem solve across agencies, side by side, with a person at the center of that work. I will share that our team at Central Health, we took a field trip a few weeks ago to Circle the City, a respite center that is well known and well regarded in Phoenix, Arizona. And one of the most interesting things that came out in our reflection is we noticed that in almost every room at Circle the City, there was a sign on the wall that said, "Poop goes in the toilet." And initially, this elicited some chuckles from the team, but our homeless team lead, Dr. Audrey Kwong, reminded us that if you've been living out in an unsheltered environment for a while, you are not pooping in the toilet consistently. And so it's actually not a trivial thing to learn again what it looks like to live in a sheltered situation, to live in a congregate setting. There are examples that go beyond this. When someone leaves our respite facility today, they often go to one of our partners in Fresh Start, and the first home they go to is a home in which that individual's laundry is done for them. Their food is prepared for them. And the intensive case management and support continues, and the team observes this individual to see, are they ready to go to that next step where they are now in a housing situation where they cook their own food and they do their own laundry. And one of our community health workers, Kathy, I'm fond of asking each team member I have a chance to visit with this question: if I gave you a magic wand and that wand had one charge in it, you could wave that wand just once to make one thing easier or better for our patients or our teams, what would you do? And Kathy said, well, what about life coaches? There's more than pooping in the toilet or doing your laundry or cooking that it takes to figure out what you need to do to be able to sustain that permanent supportive housing situation. And what about life coaches for a year? What if we had people with lived experience who walk alongside our patients for that full year as a touch point for any services that are connecting in, making sure that individual doesn't get lost, fall through the cracks, the ability to pick up the phone and refer back out and reconnect that individual to whatever they need. And potentially folks who come through that journey and have that lived experience who are ready and want to do this could become life coaches themselves. This could be a dignified and living wage job with good benefits. It could be a way out of that cycle of homelessness. What would it look like if we came together as a community across our agencies and went an inch wide and a mile deep and asked through the lens of health, if you start in a respite setting or you start in a mental health diversion setting instead of being incarcerated and you're coming out of an inpatient setting, then what? We don't want to just drop you off at the side of the street and wait for you to cycle back to that system. We want to envision that continuum of care downstream for at least a year. Homelessness is a systemic problem. We have solved or attempted to solve some of those problems in a more fragmented way. Can we lift that up and solve it at a systemic level, at a continued care level, through a life cycle of a patient journey that is sufficiently long and sufficiently diverse that we actually put the pieces together in a whole person care way? We'd love to be part of that conversation at Central Health. We'd love to be at the table and create space at that table for our partners across agencies. I would wave that wand and imbue a sense of deep trust throughout our system. If we had deep trust, if we felt we were working among family to common purpose, and we didn't wait for each other to go first, but we asked if we were to contribute our part in the best way that we can and trust that our team members would be there with us and we would be laser focused on the problem in front of us, what would we do? How would we work together if we had deep trust? And then let's go out and do it. The commitment from us at Central Health is we're going to endeavor to work in that way. We are going to recognize that we have a leadership opportunity to stand up and to go first and to invite and earn that deep trust with all of our partners throughout this ecosystem and space.